Greetings, programs. Welcome to Stegosaurus Studios. I'm Mike, and I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. So, first order of business today, need to talk about the audio of the last 5 episodes, I think. So, a person on YouTube commented that it was in mono, and he was right. He or she, actually can't remember the name. I apologize for that. So here's the story. It turns out that this lapel mic right here that I'm using has been set for mono the whole time, ever since I got it. The first 6 episodes of the channel, I was using Adobe Premiere to do my video editing, and Adobe, if it encounters a mono signal, it automatically copies it over to 2 channels. But I switched on episode 7 to DaVinci Resolve because I was having all kinds of problems with Premiere. I like Resolve a lot better, but Resolve does not do that automatically. I did not know that, and when I'm editing, I'm using a computer that kind of has, it doesn't have very widely separated speakers, so I never picked up that it was in mono. So for those of you that slogged through the last 5 episodes in mono, I know that's disturbing, and I apologize for that. I'd like to change those, but here's the thing. YouTube does not allow you to actually replace a video. So I would have to upload a new video, and then all the subscribers would basically be getting updates saying there's a new video, and it actually wouldn't be a new video. So I'm going to leave them. I'm actually going to, I can edit them to put a little note on them, and I will put a note saying sorry about the crappy video. So that's my audio story. So let's move on. Let's do droid things. All right. So yeah. Well, it's time to start working on dummy seat, putting it together. So here's the plan. Got some XPS foam, pink, 1 inch thick, and so I'm going to cut the right size of this, and then I'm going to glue it down to a thin piece of plywood, and then I will shape it. So I'm going to try to shape it like a seat. So I'm going to, round the edges and basically make it look like a seat. And then I'm going to wrap it in this imitation distressed leather. So it'll actually look like a seat. So I'll wrap it around it, and then I'll staple it to the plywood on the underneath, just like how you would upholster a chair. And then the 2 seat cushions, the base and the back, I'll screw down to a T-slot aluminum extrusion frame that will then be able to be bolted into the frame of the speeder bike. So that's the plan. I've never actually worked with any of this material before, so this is all new, which is fun. So for cutting the foam, I thought about buying one of those like handheld. I looked at the handheld hot wire knife cutter, and I've actually watched people do that, like Brian from the Smuggler's Room, when he first started using it, and the cuts tend to be pretty wavy. And like I know when I use a skill saw, a hand skill saw, my straight cuts look like they were cut by a drunken monkey on an all-night bender. So I actually got this, which is kind of like a hot wire table saw. It's got a base, an arm, and so with this, I should be able to make, hopefully, straight cuts, and it actually can do miter cuts as well, so I'll be using that as well. So I need to put this together and figure out how it works, and then start putting it all together. All right. Well, that seemed to work pretty well. That did work pretty well. One thing though, you can't see from the video very well, but the wire was actually deflecting quite a bit as I moved the material through. So what I learned is, like if I was doing something, more intricate, detailed work, really need to tension the wire higher. So, and that you can do with this setup. You can create higher tension. But luckily, I was making straight cuts, and it wasn't an issue. So I'm starting to put together. Sorry for the camera here. I'm starting to put together dummy's seat. So this is the seat bottom. Get back far enough here. So got a lip that'll have to get shaped. So the first adhesive that I used to glue this together was this barge, and I used that because I saw the folks on Punished Props using it to glue foam together. Apparently that's a different kind of foam, so you can probably see here this, if I get close, it melted the foam. Now it's going to be okay for this, for what I'm doing. So, but I got a different adhesive. The guys in my local builder group recommended a couple of different choices, so I got a different one. I got to try it out. But anyway, so this is the seat back, and you can see here I'm using a Dremel and sandpaper, starting to curve the edges, make it look more like a seat. So that'll be the lumbar support, like my Droid actually needs lumbar support. But anyway, I'm doing it. So anyway, this whole stuff will get glued down to the plywood with hopefully appropriate glue that won't melt it. And so gotta go pick up said plywood and then cut it over at a friend's house that has a table saw and assemble everything. So that's up next. We have a winner in the glue category. So Duncan, one of the builders that participates in our Slack channel, pointed me to this 3M Fast Bond. It worked great. I made a tiny little pink insulation sandwich. That doesn't look like much, but the key is that it did not degrade the foam. And the one drawback though with this is it is a contact cement, which means as soon as it makes contact when the glue, one glue meets another glue, they're stuck. So you get one chance to put this stuff together. So be careful when you use it, but works great. I like it. Thanks again, Duncan. So Dummy was very excited to take a ride in the car and hang out in the shop and watch us work. And of course, in the shop, I did not get any video of cutting of anything. But so we cut these pieces of plywood that you see me working on here on the table saw, and which nice straight cuts. For the cutting of the T-slot, the aluminum extrusion, we were planning on using the chop saw, had some issues with that, and so Tim ended up using just a metal blade on his skill saw. Wasn't the best solution, created some issues, and I'm going to talk about those issues right now. So the saw that we used to cut these jingered up the ends a little bit. So I'm gonna have some cleanup to do, but got some hand files, got to clear out those slots so that hardware can fit in there and smooth it all out. Bit of work, but not a big deal. Now here we have some video of the gluing process with the 3M Fast Bond. So basically you spread it on in a thin coat. You can use a brush like I'm doing here. You can use a roller, however you want to get a thin coat, and then you let it dry. It took about 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, probably a little longer to get it dry for me. And the product says you need to make the contact within 4 hours, so you got plenty of leeway. So you let it dry, and then you just stick the two surfaces together. And I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do the whole this, so I'll stop here and move on to the next video. All right, you can see here, so the glued on finished things, and then that was the leather. I spread it out on my dining room table. Once I got the pieces cut and marked, then it was time to glue them. So what I omitted here was putting on the glue and letting it dry. But now, with some assistance from my wife, who is off camera, but there she is, we will very carefully stick this together. So as I mentioned earlier, you get essentially one shot with contact cement. You have to get everything lined up, and so there we made first contact, and now we are going to slowly roll the imitation leather product over the foam and glue it down. It worked really well. At first I was concerned that it wasn't going to hold, but once it set up and dried, it actually held really well. So pretty happy with how it turned out. I've got a photo of the finished thing coming up, but anyway, that's the gluing process. All right, so this is the one of the two cushions. I tried the my staple gun. So I don't have like an electric staple gun. I have a manual one, and it doesn't. It left quite a few of the staples still sticking out, protruding. So I had a box of these tacks, which I actually think they're furniture tacks, so they're kind of made for this, and they got flush, and I felt like they did better than the staples. I didn't know how to. I'm not a professional upholsterer, so I basically wrapped it like a Christmas present, and so I have the traditional sort of Christmas present seams, but in the end, I think it turned out. I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, it has visible folded over seams, but the storyline is that this droid, basically dummy, made this himself, the speeder bike, out of parts. So I would envision it's going to have flaws and whatnot, and so it's going to have flaws. So that is how I made it, and got a shot coming up of the finished thing, I think. Okay, excuse me, got a shot of frame mid-assembly. So I had I wanted to put the angle of the seat at what I had put it in the design. I have a tiny little protractor, which is really hard to judge the right angle. So using trigonometry, the tangent of the angle, I basically, out of 11 by 17 paper, created this piece of paper. This right triangle, and with that I could then get the angle of the seat correct. And here finally is the seat all put together, minus the armrest. I have not cut that piece yet. That'll be coming up probably in episode 13, not in this one. I think we're kind of running at the limit here. So anyway, that's the seat, and I actually have footage of dummy already sitting in it and everything, but again, episode 13. So, well, I'm ending the episode here in the office, and not out in the shop. It's supposed to hit 105 degrees today, so it is already brutally hot out there in the shop. So, doing it in here. Like I just mentioned in the previous shot, already have some video for episode 13, so I don't know everything else that'll be in 13, but that'll be a little bit of armrest. There's some speeder bike stuff. who knows what else will happen by the time I get it all edited together. So you'll have to check in next time in order to see. So thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later.